Joining us from the Ravens training facility is our Jamison Hensley. Jamison, with practice set to begin in just over an hour, what's the latest you're hearing about Lamar Jackson taking the field this afternoon?
Well, Jay, that's the big question out here, and there's been some twists with this story because when I talked to a team official on Friday, he told me that he was very hopeful that Jackson would be able to start in the postseason. And then about last night, there was increasing buzz that Jackson would not practice. Now, no team official has confirmed this to me, and as you said, practice is about to begin 90 minutes, not far from where I'm standing right now. And when I saw Jackson last week, he was still walking with a slight limp. And this is an injury that affects your change of direction and your ability to push off and burst. So this is kind of where we stand right now. Lamar Jackson has not suited up since injuring that knee on December 4th. That is a span of 37 days. So until we see Lamar Jackson out on that practice field, no one can believe with any certainty that Jackson will practice this week.
Okay, Baltimore also keeping an eye on Tyler Huntley's right shoulder. He didn't play in the regular season finale. What more can you share about his health?
Yeah, Jay, with all the attention on Lamar Jackson, I think people forget there's another banged-up Ravens quarterback here, and Tyler Huntley, the Ravens' primary backup, he's been dealing with tendonitis in his right shoulder. This week, I did not see him make one throw. Now, I have been told by the team that he would be able to have played last week in Cincinnati. They wanted to rest him to make sure he was available this week if Lamar Jackson could not go. And Huntley, he plays with a similar style as Lamar Jackson, but the productivity is very, very different. In 4 starts with Huntley this season, the Ravens have totaled 3 touchdowns.
And also, without Jackson, Baltimore's averaged 13 points a game, scored just 4 touchdowns, both of which are the second fewest in the NFL over that span. Jamison Hensley joining us from the Ravens training facility. Let's go back over to Sage.
Yeah, interesting, Marcus, you described the Dolphins situation at quarterback as kind of sad, and I kind of feel the same way with the Baltimore Ravens, too, 2 completely different teams with or without their starting quarterbacks. What's your reaction to Jamison's report?
If Lamar is there, we're having a different conversation, obviously. And look, it's the dynamic ability with his legs that kind of can even things out that you've been lacking as the Baltimore Ravens. The quarterback situation, and we know that there may be rust throwing the football. But if you telling me that I'm going to get an 85% Lamar Jackson, that's better than anything you got in the building. And that's your best chance to try to get this done against Cincinnati.
Even with no practice for the last month plus.
Sage, you got to throw it out there. Like this, and 2, this is a different type of athlete we're talking about. If he can run and cut, he's different than anybody on that football field, as we know. So, and like, he's your best chance. The bottom line is that he's your best chance. This defense has been playing pretty well. It was a 27-16 game just the last week against Cincinnati. Cincinnati is let's get this straight too. Cincinnati is a better team with Lamar on the field.
With Lamar.
Okay,
yeah,
with Lamar.
Exactly.
But your chance to win the game increases heavily with him playing quarterback.
Yeah.
And don't forget, and I know a lot of people toss it out, but the Ravens beat the Cincinnati Bengals early in the season. Obviously, the Bengals were struggling. They lost to the Cowboys as well. We know that this is not the same team, the same Cincinnati Bengals now than we saw earlier in the year. But if Lamar Jackson comes back, that means Lamar Jackson is healthy enough to play, and Lamar Jackson's skill set lends itself to you having different situations in this game. Extension of drives because of his legs. Understanding of his rapport with Mark Andrews. I don't think that just goes away in a month. These guys have a rapport that they built over years. And then, 2, you call in the game differently as an offense. So I think a lot of things change that we kind of don't think about. We just think about the player and his individual skill set. The approach to this game changes for the Baltimore Ravens if Lamar Jackson plays.
I mean, just what those meeting rooms are like 100%. All week long leading up to it.
And like we just talked about with Tua being out, of how deflating that could be, imagine what this locker room would be like if Lamar is playing.
Totally different. You're right. Although it's interesting because they have lost their last 2 games on the road in Cincinnati without Lamar Jackson. I mean, you mentioned the difference, 68-37 outscored. So I mean, you almost say, hey, we got nothing to lose. Same thing, just wing it because it probably isn't going to happen. Outside of Ravens-Dolphins quarterback questions, Marcus, there are 5 other quarterbacks that are likely to make their first playoff starts. In the NFC, we got Geno Smith for the Seahawks, Brock Purdy, we know the story there with the Niners, Daniel Jones for the Giants, going to get going for the first time. AFC, Justin Herbert, you got Trevor Lawrence, and then back to the Dolphins and Ravens there, Skylar Thompson, Tyler Huntley, Anthony Brown. They all would be making their first postseason starts as well. So out of all of these potential quarterbacks, these youngsters making their first postseason starts, which one are you the most confident in?
Brock Purdy.
Okay.
And it's because of his supporting cast.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to make this difficult. Kyle Shanahan is calling plays. It's the best defense in the NFL. He's going to be called upon to do the least than any of these other quarterbacks in order to try to win a game. Trevor Lawrence playing the Chargers. Justin Herbert going to be standing on the opposite sideline trying to score points as well. You look at the Seahawks game, and the Seahawks were dominated by the San Francisco defense earlier this season when those two matched up. Bosa plays defensive end for the San Francisco 49ers. Kyle Shanahan, we regard as one of the best play callers ever to coach football in the NFL. Kittle is there. Deebo Samuel is back healthy. You traded for Christian McCaffrey. You got an offensive line that's really good. The system has not changed since Jimmy Garoppolo left and Brock Purdy was inserted into this. So I think Brock Purdy is in the best situation strictly because he's going to be called to do less. And let's not give him credit. He's played well with what he's been asked to do. But the supporting cast, like we've seen this team throw screens and win games. I was just talking to somebody, Sage. This team went to Green Bay and did not score an offensive touchdown and won the football game. So let's pause and think about, I'm not saying Brock Purdy is better than Trevor Lawrence, or better than Justin Herbert. Brock Purdy is in the best situation you could possibly be. If I took a pillow and a mattress and laid it down on this floor and I literally laid you on that pillow and mattress softly, okay?
I'm picturing this.
That's basically what Brock Purdy is being asked to do when he goes into these playoff games. It's as simple as that.
It's all about the situation, right?
It matters. It matters.
Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, 262nd overall pick in the draft, right? He will become the lowest rookie drafted to start a playoff game in history.
And unfortunately, Jimmy Garoppolo got to catch a stray, okay, by what I'm about to say. All right, and you know where I'm going with this. Jimmy Garoppolo has been laying on that pillow and that mattress more than anybody else in the NFL. And look, this situation shows you, give credit to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and this organization for how they've built this football team based in their image and what they want to do, where they can sustain this type of situation.
You didn't have to throw the stray out there. You were fine settling on Brock Purdy, but you had to go there.
I just get so sick of people saying Jimmy Garoppolo led them to the Super Bowl.
Jay, help.
Hey, Jay.
I can't help you. Closing out Super Wildcard Weekend with the Cowboys taking on the Bucs Monday night, 8:15 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN. Hey, Jerry Jones was asked yesterday about the status of head coach Mike McCarthy. Take a listen to Jones.
Could anything happen in this playoff game Monday that could put Mike McCarthy's job status in question for next year?
No. I don't even want to. No. That's it. I don't need to go into all the pluses or minuses, but we're not seeing any. We're not basing. I've got a lot more to evaluate Mike McCarthy on than this playoff game.
Okay, Jerry Jones seeming to give a vote of confidence to the Cowboys coach. The First Take crew speaking earlier on who has more to prove on Monday, McCarthy or quarterback Dak Prescott. Stephen A. Smith offering his opinion first on Jerry's comments yesterday regarding the head coach. Joining us from the Ravens training facility is our Jamison Hensley. Jamison, with practice set to begin in just over an hour, what's the latest you're hearing about Lamar Jackson taking the field this afternoon?
Well, Jay, that's the big question out here, and there's been some twists with this story because when I talked to a team official on Friday, he told me that he was very hopeful that Jackson would be able to start in the postseason. And then about last night, there was increasing buzz that Jackson would not practice. Now, no team official has confirmed this to me, and as you said, practice is about to begin 90 minutes, not far from where I'm standing right now. And when I saw Jackson last week, he was still walking with a slight limp. And this is an injury that affects your change of direction and your ability to push off and burst. So this is kind of where we stand right now. Lamar Jackson has not suited up since injuring that knee on December 4th. That is a span of 37 days. So until we see Lamar Jackson out on that practice field, no one can believe with any certainty that Jackson will practice this week.
Okay, Baltimore also keeping an eye on Tyler Huntley's right shoulder. He didn't play in the regular season finale. What more can you share about his health?
Yeah, Jay, with all the attention on Lamar Jackson, I think people forget there's another banged-up Ravens quarterback here, and Tyler Huntley, the Ravens' primary backup, he's been dealing with tendonitis in his right shoulder.